Disturbing media. Disturbing media is a really fun thing to watch on YouTube for some reason. I don't know why the hell you guys like it. I mean, it's literally meant to be disturbing, but hey, it's me too. I mean, me too, man. Like, I totally get you. You're probably clicking this video because it's like late at night or some shit, or you're working and you just want something to listen to in the background, which is fine. I mean, that's great, dude. You're gonna enjoy it here. My face is not gonna be here the whole video. It's just for the intro, just to say welcome to this disturbing media exploration that I put together for you guys. But yeah, that's enough of my face. Let's get into this disturbing media. It's August 9th, 2013. The sky over Brunt, Texas is dark, and a heavy silence fills the rural air, interrupted only by the hum of insects. On this night, Brandon Lawson, a 26-year-old oil field worker, makes a decision that will lead to one of the most bizarre and haunting mysteries in recent history. After a fight with his longtime girlfriend, Ladessa, Brandon leaves their San Angelo home, frustration driving him down the empty highway towards his father's house in Crowley, Texas. He's already had a rough few days, working long shifts, little sleep, and stress had been building. The argument that night tipped him over the edge, and he just needed to cool off. As he drives down the lonesome stretch of Highway 277, around 12:30 a.m., his truck runs out of gas. Stranded in the middle of nowhere, he calls his brother, Kyle, for help. This seems like a small inconvenience at first. Kyle agrees to come out and bring some fuel. It's what happens next that turns this into a nightmare. At 12:50 a.m., Brandon makes another call, this time to 911. His voice is breathless, panic-stricken, and jumbled. He sounds disoriented, as if something is horribly wrong. "Yes, I'm in the middle of a field," he tells the dispatcher. "A guy's chasing me. We're not talking to him." His words are almost nonsensical, broken up by his heavy breathing. There's something in his voice, an urgency that sends a chill down your spine. In the background, there are strange noises that some claim sound like gunshots, but there's no way to confirm that. The dispatcher tries to get more information, but Brandon's words become harder to understand. "I ran into them, just the first guy," he says at one point, as if something or someone is after him. "Please hurry." His last words are haunting, an urgent plea for help that would never come. Kyle arrives shortly after with his girlfriend and a can of gas, but when he gets there, Brandon isn't anywhere to be found. His truck is still on the side of the road, unlocked and abandoned. Kyle calls Brandon's phone. Brandon answers, but the connection is poor. He sounds out of breath, disoriented, like he's running or hiding. Then, silence. Kyle searches the area, but finds nothing unusual, no sign of Brandon. The next morning, authorities join the search. They comb the rural area around the truck, but there are no footprints, no signs of a struggle, nothing to suggest where Brandon went. It's as if he vanished into thin air. Search efforts continue for days, but they come up empty-handed. Brandon's phone continues to ping off nearby towers for hours after the 911 call, suggesting he was still in the area, but searchers can't find him. It's as if he's always just out of reach, hiding in the shadows of the Texas brush, unseen. The 911 call haunts everyone who hears it. What was Brandon running from? Was there truly someone chasing him? Or was it paranoia brought on by stress and confusion? Theories abound, from foul play to the possibility that Brandon was in an altered state of mind. Some wonder if drug use played a part, as it was later revealed that Brandon had relapsed recently. Others believe he may have stumbled into something far more sinister, perhaps involving the mysterious guy he mentioned in the call. And then there are those gunshots, or what some believe are gunshots. In the chaos of the call, muffled noises can be heard in the background. Are they gunshots, or just distorted sounds from the phone's poor connection? No one can say for sure. Over time, the case begins to fade from public attention, but for those closest to Brandon, the mystery never dies. Every year, his family holds out hope that one day he'll be found. His brother, Kyle, lives with the guilt of not being able to find Brandon that night. He retraces his steps, wondering if there was something he missed, some clue that could have led him to his brother. The land where Brandon disappeared remains vast and unforgiving. It's filled with rugged terrain, thorny brush, and hidden crevices that could easily swallow someone whole. Searchers have scoured the area multiple times, but the harsh landscape makes it easy to miss things. It's possible that Brandon's remains are still out there, hidden in the wild, waiting to be found. But there's another possibility, one that keeps people awake at night. What if Brandon didn't die in those fields? What if he was taken by someone or something? His words were not talking to him, hang in the air, a cryptic message that has yet to be deciphered. Did Brandon encounter someone that night? And if so, where did they go? The year is 1991, Albuquerque, New Mexico. A truck driver named Eduardo Collin checks into a Super 8 motel with a mysterious woman. Room 233 becomes the scene of one of the most unsettling cases of the era. A case that would spiral into a haunting web of unanswered questions and chilling clues. By June 5th, when the motel staff discovered that Eduardo had failed to check out, no one anticipated the grisly scene that awaited them inside the locked room. The door had to be forced open with a screwdriver, and the contents of the room were eerily ordinary at first. Empty alcohol bottles scattered across the table, suitcases, a few personal items, until the security guard opened the bathroom door. Hanging from the shower rod was the body of an unknown woman using a suitcase strap as a noose. Her decomposed state suggested she had been there since June 3rd. The cause of death was clear: suicide. But who was this woman, and what brought her to such a tragic end? A photograph found in the room showed her with an unidentified man. It was initially assumed to be Eduardo, the truck driver who rented the room. But after years of searching, Eduardo's family confirmed it wasn't him in the photo. Eduardo had died from natural causes before they could even question him. Despite having her image captured in a photo booth picture, the woman remained unidentified for decades. No ID, no clear history, just a photo, a suitcase full of women's clothes, and a purse with $500 inside. Some speculated that this wasn't just a simple suicide. It was possible that she had ties to drug dealing, as a scale found in the room had the name George Martinez written on it. The heroin found in her system also suggested she had a troubled past with substance use. Was this George connected to her death, or was he merely a player in a larger, more sinister game? The case took an unexpected turn in 2021, nearly 30 years later, when investigators received a tip that the woman's name might have been Becca. This sparked a new wave of interest in the cold case, linking her to the Los Angeles area, specifically the Reseda and Silmer neighborhoods. Some believed she flew from Los Angeles or Burbank to Albuquerque, possibly looking for a fresh start or running from something or someone. Yet, despite this tip, her identity remains as elusive as ever. The woman, possibly named Becca, was described as having curly, strawberry blonde hair and hazel or gray eyes. Her physical features, including her natural teeth and impacted wisdom teeth, were documented, but no records matched her description. The clothing she wore, a tank top, white denim slacks, and 3 metal earrings, didn't offer many additional clues. Her jewelry, particularly a wide silver and gold bracelet, might have been unique, but no one ever came forward to claim knowledge of it. Then there's the photograph. It stands as one of the eeriest elements of the case, a photo booth strip showing the Jane Doe with an unidentified man. Some say this photo was taken just hours before her death, capturing a fleeting moment of her life before she met her tragic fate. Who was the man? What was their relationship? Was this a planned suicide, or was there foul play involved? The case of the Bernalillo County Jane Doe, known by some as Becca, remains one of the most unsettling unsolved mysteries. It's not just her tragic death that haunts investigators and armchair detectives alike. It's the strange confluence of clues that hint at a life on the run, a connection to the drug trade, and a dark, untold story of a woman who vanished into oblivion, leaving behind a chilling mystery that still baffles to this day. The Funky Town video. is one of those infamous pieces of disturbing footage that has taken on a life of its own on the dark corners of the internet, where only the most morbid and macabre material tends to circulate. At first glance, the title sounds harmless enough, almost playful. It evokes thoughts of the 1980s disco hit, an upbeat tune meant to get people moving, but in reality, the Funky Town video is one of the darkest and most unsettling pieces of media that exists in the realm of shock videos, a chilling reminder of the depth of human cruelty. The video itself is a torture scene, recorded in what appears to be the back room of a cartel-run operation, likely tied to the violent drug wars in Mexico. It's not entirely clear who the man in the video is. His identity is lost in the sea of victims who have been claimed by these brutal conflicts. But what is clear is that he's in unimaginable pain, suffering a fate worse than death. The title Funky Town comes from the song that plays in the background, an eerie juxtaposition between the lighthearted melody and the horrific violence taking place on screen. The dissonance between the song and the images is perhaps what makes the video so notorious, amplifying the horror by underscoring it with something so bizarrely out of place. The footage is short, but it feels eternal. The man in the video has been brutally mutilated. His face is mostly gone, a bloody mess of bone and flesh. His legs are bound. He's powerless to stop what's happening. Yet, despite the severity of his injuries, he's still alive, blinking, gasping for breath, somehow holding on to the last threads of life. It's this part that's the hardest to stomach, for me at least. The fact that he's conscious, aware of what's being done to him, and can do nothing about it. The perpetrators, unseen for the most part, continue to torture him. They stab him in the neck and head, almost casually, as if the act of killing another human being has become routine, an everyday task for them. It's not quick or clean. It's methodical, drawn out, almost ritualistic in its cruelty, and all the while, Funky Town plays on. What makes the Funky Town video so disturbing isn't just the violence, it's also the psychological weight it carries. The video is a stark reminder of the brutality that exists in the world, of how human life can be reduced to something disposable, a pawn in the larger game of power and revenge. The man in the video is more than just a victim of torture. He represents the countless, nameless, faceless people who have been caught up in the drug wars, whose lives have been snuffed out in similarly horrific ways, but never made it to the internet. The video serves as a grotesque symbol of the cruelty that is often hidden from view, lurking just beneath the surface of society. To make it even more haunting, the Funky Town video is often shared with little context, leaving viewers to fill the gaps with their imagination. Who was this man? Why was he targeted? What led up to this horrifying moment? These are questions that will never be answered, which only adds to the eerie, almost supernatural aura that surrounds the footage. The video itself feels like a cursed object, something that shouldn't exist, yet continues to circulate, drawing in those with a morbid curiosity for the darkest parts of human existence. There's also the idea that, in a strange and unsettling way, the Funky Town video has taken on a life of its own in internet culture. It's passed around like some kind of test, a rite of passage for those who delve into the underworld of shock media. Have you seen the Funky Town video? Becomes a challenge, a dare, as if watching it proves something about your ability to handle the most extreme content. But what does it really prove? Perhaps it only proves that there are some things no one should ever see. Images that, once burned into your brain, will never leave. Imagine stumbling across a YouTube video late one night in the quiet hours when the world seems still but your mind races. The video is titled 112 Dirtbag, a name that means nothing to most people, but for those who have spent years obsessing over the disappearance of Maura Murray, it sends a shiver down the spine. And when you click play, you're met with something that feels like it crawled straight out of a nightmare. The video itself is simple, almost too simple, as if that makes it even more unnerving. It's a shaky, low-quality clip, like it was filmed on a cheap webcam or an old phone. The camera is fixed on a man, an older man, with stringy gray hair and hollow eyes that seem to gleam with something off. His face is lined with age, but there's something about the way he holds himself, the way he looks into the camera, that feels like he knows something you don't, and that's the part that's most unsettling. For nearly a minute, the man says nothing. He just sits there, laughing maniacally, his face pulling into a sinister grin. It's the kind of laugh, the kind of smile, that makes your skin crawl, the kind that feels far too deliberate, like it's rehearsed, but it's still all too real. The laughter seems to echo in the empty space, hollow and chilling, like it's directed at you personally. He's laughing, but at what? At you? At the case? At Maura? The sound is so unhinged that it seems to claw at your insides. The video cuts abruptly after that. No explanation, no words spoken, just that image burned into your mind. The image of an old man laughing as if he knows the darkest of secrets. The title, 111 Dirtbag, immediately set off alarm bells for those who had followed the Maura Murray case. It felt like a taunt, like whoever this man was, he was flaunting some connection to the disappearance. The number 112 seemed to reference Route 112, the lonely highway where Maura's car was found, abandoned after her mysterious crash. And Dirtbag wasn't just a random insult. It was a word Maura's father, Fred Murray, had used in interviews to describe whoever might have been responsible for his daughter's disappearance. The pieces started clicking together in a way that makes this whole thing even creepier. Who was this man? How was he connected to Maura's disappearance? The internet went wild with speculation. Some thought he might be a troll, someone exploiting the tragedy for attention, which isn't unheard of in true crime circles, but others weren't so sure. There was something about the look in his eyes, about the timing of the video, that made it seem like he was more than just some random guy looking for kicks. Digging deeper into the man behind the video led to unsettling revelations. The figure in the video was identified as Alden Olson, a man who had been on law enforcement's radar in connection with the Maura Murray case, though he was never officially considered a suspect. His behavior, both in the video and other unsettling clips he uploaded, made many feel like he knew more than he was letting on, or worse, that he was somehow involved in Maura's disappearance. What made the whole thing even more eerie is that the 111 Dirtbag video was uploaded on February 9th, 2012, exactly 8 years to the day after Maura Murray vanished. Was it a coincidence? Or was it a deliberate choice meant to send a message? The laugh, the grin, the timing, it all felt like an unspoken confession wrapped in a twisted game, like the man was daring the internet to figure it out, to piece together the clues he was dangling just out of reach. To this day, no one knows, for sure, what Alden Olson's true connection to the case is, if any. The story of the Yellowstone Park accident victim who tragically dissolved in a boiling acidic pool is one of those chilling tales that makes you shudder at the thought of nature's unforgiving power. Yellowstone is known for its breathtaking beauty, its towering geysers, stunning wildlife, and bubbling hot springs. But beneath that beauty lies something far more dangerous. The park's thermal features, while mesmerizing, are essentially ticking time bombs of scalding water and acid, hidden in plain sight. And for one unfortunate man, that danger proved fatal in a way that is as horrifying as it is surreal. It was in June of 2016 when Colin Scott, a 23-year-old from Portland, Oregon, was visiting Yellowstone National Park with his sister, Sable. The pair had wandered off the designated boardwalks near the Norris Geyser Basin, an area notorious for its superheated, acidic hot springs. The official paths are there for a reason. Yellowstone's geothermal features are as deadly as they are beautiful, but like many before him, Colin ventured too close, perhaps not fully aware of just how lethal the ground beneath him could be. In an attempt to test the water's temperature, Colin bent down near one of the hot springs. In a cruel twist of fate, he slipped and fell, head first, into the scalding acidic pool. The water in these springs is typically well above boiling, and combined with their high acidity, creates a lethal mixture of heat and corrosive power that is difficult to even comprehend. What followed is almost too horrific to describe. Colin's body was essentially boiled and dissolved within minutes. His sister Sable, who had been recording a video of their exploration at the time, could only watch in helpless horror as her brother vanished into the boiling pool. The video, which was never released to the public, reportedly captured the initial moments of the accident, though it was quickly turned over to park officials as evidence. She immediately ran to get help, but there was little that could be done. Rescue efforts were delayed until the following day due to safety concerns. The area around the pool was unstable, and the acidic water made recovery attempts extremely dangerous. When park rangers returned the next day, they found that there was nothing left of Colin's remains. The acidic water, combined with the intense heat, had dissolved his body completely. In a tragic twist, the geothermal pool had effectively consumed him, leaving behind no trace of his existence. It's the kind of story that seems too horrifying to be true, but in the world of Yellowstone's geothermal wonders, it's a stark reminder of how fragile human life is in the face of nature's raw power. Yellowstone's hot springs are known to reach temperatures upwards of 200 degrees Fahrenheit, with some pools surpassing the boiling point. On top of that, many of these springs are highly acidic, with some pH levels close to that of battery acid. It's not just the heat that's dangerous, it's the combination of extreme temperature and corrosiveness that makes them truly lethal. In Colin's case, the acidity of the pool meant that his body was essentially disintegrated, leaving nothing behind but the haunting story of a young man's tragic miscalculation. Yellowstone's history is dotted with accidents like these, though few are as gruesome as Colin Scott's. Visitors are repeatedly warned to stay on the boardwalks and marked trails, yet the allure of getting closer to these natural wonders sometimes proves too tempting. What many don't realize is that beneath the surface of Yellowstone's vibrant pools lies a deadly mix of boiling water, acid, and unstable ground. "1928 is in the middle of an extremely interesting transitional period for the world of cinema. Many movie studios were trying the implementation of paired video and audio in film in a rare, temporary style of sound synchronization known as a part talkie. In this style, there are one or more scenes where the actors and set on screen are synced up with dialogue or singing. Noah's Ark is a perfect example of what a part talkie is, with many scenes, particularly the biblical scenes, set to an orchestral score, with a few scenes that are visually synchronized with dialogue. The Warner Brothers were responsible for the production of the film, and they would go to great lengths to ensure a truly biblical feel of power was sensed by viewers of the movie. Some production details about films of this era are lost in time. However, one particular incident during the filming of a scene for Noah's Ark would stick in the minds of many viewers of the premiere. This is the scarily realistic flood scene early on in the film's 135-minute runtime. First viewers of the film on November 1st, 1928, were not just watching a very well-acted stunt involving a flood. They were watching extras actually fight for their lives. Extras struggled for air and space as they fought off 600,000 gallons of an absolutely furious surge of water. An edited-down version of the scene made it to the restored version and is available to watch for free on YouTube. This was not a scene the extras were prepared for. The majority of them knew there would be a flood scene, but there were no remarks made as to how much water would be coming for them, or how the producers and director planned on keeping them safe. As one would think, this would not be a filming that everyone involved would walk away from. There were numerous injuries that would become apparent after the camera turned off. 3 extras drowned on set right then and there. A young John Wayne, who had been cast as an extra in one of his very first films for Noah's Ark, almost drowned right along with them in the chaos. They were under the assumption that they were just doing another job, walking away with a meager check. The thought probably never even crossed their mind before filming that this production might actually kill them in the pursuit of biblical realism. Even more mayhem had ensued, aside from the staggering 3 fatalities. One man was so gravely injured that his leg needed to be amputated. The silent film superstar Dolores Castillo, the lead actress of the film, caught a severe case of pneumonia from the scene. Apart from that, so many people had broken bones and other serious injuries that it's not even certain how many people suffered them. All that's really known, quantity-wise, is that there were a total of 35 ambulances attending to the wounded after filming the scene, according to actress Olive Borden's biography. The director of the film, Michael Curtiz, actually had been notified of the lack of safeguards and procedures in place for the shooting of the scene by earthquake and fire survivor, as well as cinematographer Hal Moore. In response, Curtiz nonchalantly replied, "They're just going to have to take their chances." Moore, disgusted, immediately walked off set, and his role was assumed by Barney McGill. In Curtiz's mind, he was willing to do absolutely anything to, quote, make the greatest picture ever made. It's extremely safe to say that it was in the opinions of most that this movie was not the greatest picture ever made. The New York Times described the New York premiere as a film that, quote, frequently bordered on the ridiculous. This was actually much nicer than the New Yorker's opinion of the release, which they called, quote, an idiotic spectacle. After the first premiere of the film, Warner Bros. Pulled the movie for heavy revision, which would seem reasonable enough without the controversy. The movie was a shocking 2 hours and 15 minutes, an extremely long movie, which supposedly was boring and very badly produced, according to the audience response. This revision involved cutting around half an hour of footage from the movie, including many of the scenes involving dialogue. It's unclear how much, if anything, was cut or lost from the flood scene before first premiere, re-release, and restoration. Due to the 3 fatalities and massive amount of injuries among the actors and actresses, stunt safety regulations were written and implemented a year after the film debuted. Aside from that, the film itself performed well enough at the box office. It made its budget back with about $500,000 as surplus. The original premiere of the movie, however, is considered to be entirely lost. On October 5th, 2003, grizzly bear enthusiast Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend, Amy Huguenard, were mauled to death by a grizzly bear while camping at Katmai National Park. 6 minutes of audio recorded during the attack were subsequently found on the couple's video camera, albeit with the lens cap still on, none of which has ever been released to the public. According to Alaska State Trooper Chris Hill, who was there when the tape was discovered and had heard the whole recording, it, quote, starts while he's being mauled and ends while he's being mauled. Hill also revealed that the recording abruptly cuts out due to the end of the tape being reached, suggesting that it otherwise probably would have captured the whole thing. Timothy Treadwell had spent the past 13 summers living with the bears of Katmai National Park and had documented upwards of 100 hours of footage over the said period. He had risen to fame a few years prior to his death. He was interviewed on The Late Show with David Letterman in 2001, during which Letterman suggested, with disturbingly accurate foresight, the possibility of one day reading a newspaper headline that Treadwell had been eaten by a bear. Treadwell shook off the comment and denied the likelihood of such an event. Amy Huguenard, who was comparatively much less confident around bears than Treadwell, had apparently expressed concerns several times during their fatal trip. Ultimately, it was Huguenard who initiated the recording of Treadwell's final moments, forgetting to remove the lens cap in her haste, after Treadwell presumably prompted her to turn the camera on upon noticing the approaching bear. What is assumed to be a convincing fake of the first 2 minutes did show up online in the years following the incident, and is believed by some to be genuine. However, Kevin the Bear Man Sanders of Yellowstone Outdoor Adventures, who has been investigating the incident for years and who has since provided extensive documentation on his findings, claims that the aforementioned clip is fake, citing differences between it and the actual audio, which he alleges to have heard the real first 2 minutes of, and which he has partially transcribed on his website. In 2005, renowned German director Werner Herzog released a documentary film on Treadwell titled Grizzly Man. During the production of said documentary, Herzog was granted access to the audio by Jewel Palovak, Treadwell's ex-girlfriend, who had been given the tape by authorities, along with various other possessions of his, with Herzog's reaction shown on screen. The audio itself, of course, was not included. After listening to the full recording, Herzog went on to suggest to Palovak that she destroy the tape, lest it become the, quote, white elephant in her room for the rest of her life. Palovak has since admitted that she did not destroy the tape, instead choosing to store it in her safe deposit box. She claims to have never listened to the recording and hopes that she never does.